The Philippines recently signed a landmark defense agreement with India. The Philippines has agreed on buying Brahmos missiles from India for $385 million, 2,800 crore. The country is believed to be purchasing Brahmos missiles to oppose China. Will the Brahmos missile be able to strengthen the Philippines? And the biggest question of all, will the Brahmos missile be able to put an end to China's grandeur? We will discuss that in detail in today's video. The National Defense Secretary of the Philippines, Delfin Lorenzana, has disclosed the deal on her official Facebook page. On January 14, Delfin Lorenzana reported that the Philippine Navy had purchased 3 battery-powered Brahmos missiles from India. He also posted a copy of the agreement on her Facebook page in the name of retired General Rajendra Nagai, a representative of Brahmos Aerospace Private Limited. The Philippine Navy confirmed the agreement on Twitter also. The Philippines has been secretly intending to equip its navy with supersonic missiles since 2017. The Philippines has been eyeing the Brahmos missile since 2019, but they initially withdrew due to a lack of resources. However, according to the Diplomat News website reports, that same year, the Philippines once again started negotiating with India. In 2019, some officers of the Philippine Air Force arrived in India to test the Tejas fighter jet. At that time, they talked to India about the Brahmos also. According to Philippine media reports, on October 25, 2019, after assessing the strength of INS Sahyadri, the guided missile frigate of India's Shivalik-class frigate, top military officials of the Philippines similarly examined the capability of the Brahmos missile, which was on board at that moment. In 2020, the President of the Philippines approved the necessary funding for the purchase of Brahmos missiles. On March 2, 2021, India and the Philippines signed an agreement on the purchase of defense materials and equipment. That's when it became evident that the Philippines was finally going to buy Brahmos from India. Exactly 10 months later, an agreement was signed on January 28. The Brahmos missiles that the Philippine Navy acquired are mainly shore-based, which means these Brahmos missiles cannot be installed on any warships. Instead, these will be installed on the beach. The Philippines has purchased a total of 3 battery Brahmos missiles, each battery with 4 launchers and each launcher with 3 Brahmos missiles. This means each battery consists of 12 Brahmos missiles. In other words, it is completely possible to launch 36 Brahmos missiles simultaneously from these 3 battery launchers. The Philippines has Brahmos missiles with a range of 290 kilometers that can carry up to 200 kilograms of warheads. Notably, the speed of Brahmos is 3 Mach, which in kilometers is 3,700 kilometers per hour, meaning Brahmos can travel 61 kilometers in just 1 minute. Once the Brahmos is fired, it takes about 45 minutes to reach its target. Furthermore, because of its Brahmos C-drive technology, it's very hard to detect. As a result, Brahmos can eradicate any enemy before they can even prepare themselves. The Philippines has purchased Brahmos missiles to safeguard the country from China. China's grandeur in the South China Sea continues to grow while unrest between these two countries is also accumulating. There is a report available on this very topic in the American Digital Library called Creeping Assertiveness: China, the Philippines and the South China Sea Dispute. The report, published in the Ian James Store in 1999, describes how some of the islands near the Philippines were forcefully seized by China from 1995 to 1998. China played a wicked game here. While pretending to be an ally of the Philippines, they invaded the islands calculatingly. As the Philippine military was weaker than China, they had to withstand Chinese brutality silently. China is aiming to occupy the whole South China Sea. Thus it is forcibly usurping the rights of other countries. According to a report published by The Diplomat, only 3 months ago, Chinese Coast Guards had unleashed water cannons on a Philippine Navy boat. While Second Thomas Shoal was bringing food for the Philippine Army, it was stopped by the Chinese Coast Guard. The Philippines strongly opposed the Chinese government. In 2016, the Philippines won a lawsuit against China in the International Court of Justice. The case was retried in the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, the capital of the Netherlands. China lost again. In the South China Sea region, China has problems not only with the Philippines but also with Brunei, Vietnam, and Malaysia. China, after alleging each of these countries' territorial waters to be its own, drew a total of 9 lines, known as the controversial 9-dash line. According to international law, the exclusive economic zone of a country is spread up to 200 nautical miles from its coast. However, China's 9-dash line does not comply with this. China wants to occupy the entire South China Sea as it will be immensely profitable for them. About $3.37 trillion worth of merchandise is traded through this region every year. Almost 40% of the world's liquefied natural gas is transported through this corridor. Control over the entire South China Sea will provide China with some lucrative opportunities. China has started creating larger islands by artificially dumping soil on small islands scattered throughout the South China Sea, an example of which is Spratly Island. China is building its military bases on these islands. They have even built runways and deployed warplanes there. Some of the islands located in the South China Sea are Fiery Cross Reef. There is a 3-kilometer-long runway, where 4 warplanes can be kept. Gavin Reef. Sensors, communication systems and wind turbines that can supply electricity have been built there. Hughes Reef. There is an administrative building along with sensors and communication systems. Subi Reef. An underground storage facility and a sensor system has been built there. Mischief Reef. There is a sensor communication system as well as an underground storage facility. Up to 8 warplanes can be stored here. There is also a 3-kilometer-long runway. Cutero Reef and Johnson Reef. There are some administrative buildings, solar panels, and sensors. This grandeur of China has become apparent to the whole world. That is why the Philippines is acquiring a missile like Brahmos, which even the Chinese cannot defeat. China will at least think twice before threatening the Philippines now. The distance of 200 nautical miles or 370 kilometers from the coast of any country is known as the exclusive economic zone of that country, and the range of Brahmos is 290 kilometers. So, it's understandable why the Philippines chose to buy Brahmos. A popular media channel in the Philippines is ANC 24/7. There, a presenter named Christian Esguerra had interviewed Greg Poling, head of Asian Maritime Transportation, on their popular show After the Fact on January 18. In that interview, Greg Poling explained that buying Brahmos changes everything for the Philippines. China will now think twice before attacking the Philippines, because if a missile worth $1 million somehow destroys a ship worth $100 million, then China will be the one to suffer. China knew that the Philippines would buy Brahmos eventually, so they have already installed HQ-9 air defense systems on the islands to counter it. However, at this moment no air defense system has the capability to defeat Brahmos, the world's fastest supersonic cruise missile, and China itself knows that. Next year Brahmos will be shipped to the Philippines. According to sources, along with the Philippine Navy, the Philippine Army is also going to purchase 2 battery Brahmos missiles. Thanks for watching the Indian Infantry. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. If you have any suggestion, please let me know by comments. Thank you. See you on next video.